Hello and welcome to the third and final part in this series about solo travelling on a budget. In the first video I looked at transportation, and in the second, that was all about accommodation. And in this final part I'll look at all other aspects of travelling on a budget, including money, personal safety, mobile phones, apps, saving money and much more. If you want to know how I afford to travel, then this video here will provide all the answers. There'll be a link in the description and it will come up at the end of this video. But let's start with a disclaimer. I'm not promoting or recommending any company or any service that I mention in this video. I'm using my own words based upon my experiences from 50 years of travel. A lot of common sense comes into play here. Basically, don't do anything abroad that you don't do at home. Set your own ground rules and stick to them. And my main rule is that I'm always in my accommodation before 6 p.m. or before dusk, and rarely go out in the evenings. I never accept help from friendly locals who offer to take me somewhere. I use official transport, trains, bus, metro and tram. I avoid a bureau de change or local money changer shops. I don't buy tickets from touts. I avoid tourist traps and I research my destination thoroughly before I travel. Don't get drunk in a foreign country. Disorientated people can often become victims to being robbed, assaulted, abducted, raped, or even worse. Definitely enjoy a night out with your friends, but ensure that you walk home as a group after dark, back to your accommodation, and walk through the main streets as much as possible, even if that means walking a little further and not in a direct route. Beware of your surroundings at all times and anybody who might be following you. There are some bad people in this world, so stay alert and stay safe. Look after your money, passport, documents, mobile phone and personal belongings. Use Hotel Safe if it has one. Hide your things in your Airbnb accommodation for safety. And I'll cover money and mobile phones separately in this video. Beware of tourist scams, people who stop you in the street touts offering you free drinks or half-price drinks in a bar. There may be hidden charges. Could get your drinks spiked. These stories do make the newspapers and the victim has often been robbed or their credit cards charged hundreds of pounds or thousands. Just avoid going to bars that are in places that you're invited to by touts. And beware of the 3-cup scam that goes around. There's usually a group of people all betting and they're all in on the scam. And I passed several today here in London. So all drawing big crowds, don't get drawn into any scams. If it seems too good to be true, then it's probably a scam. Beware of pickpockets. There are numerous pickpocket hotspots around the world, including on public transport. So be aware of who is around you. Ensure you look after your handbag and other items in cafes and restaurants. Choose your new local friends carefully. Are they genuine or just trying to win over your confidence for their own gain? And never ask anybody to look after your bag, especially if you're going to the toilet. Unless, of course, they are good friends or family. But any new friends you've just made, well, they may not be there when you get back. Try and act like a local and not like a tourist. That way you don't stand out. Travel with confidence and know where you're going and how to get there. Remember, trust your own intuition. If you're not sure about doing something, then don't do it. That's always good advice. There is so much that I can say about money, from carrying cash to using cards. Now, when I travel, I do carry a selection of cards and local currency, plus some sterling or US dollars just in case. Some places, cafes and restaurants, don't take cards and prefer cash. This is quite normal in Germany, for example, but other countries prefer you just to tap your card. It's so much easier. Some countries prefer Visa cards, others prefer MasterCard. So we'll try and carry one of each. Ensure you use your card first and keep your cash for another time, just in case you need it. Nothing worse than running low on cash and not being able to pay your bill because you're unable to use a card. So let's start looking at cards. And again, I'm not promoting or recommending any company or service, just using my own words. Now, I carry a Revolut card, which is a Visa card. It's my card of choice. I have the free card, which I preload with money in the currency of the country that I'm going and use it just like my debit card at home. I can also withdraw cash up to a limit. I think it's about £200 a month or the equivalent in a local currency. But I opt not to put this card into an ATM, just in case it doesn't come out. I also have this card on Google Pay for my phone, and it can be used with Apple Pay as well. They offer prepaid monthly cards with added benefits as well. So there are other companies who offer similar products, so shop around and see what brand or card might actually suit your needs. I also carry money in my PayPal account, which is linked to my Revolut card, so I can always download funds from there as well, and from my bank, just to keep me topped up if I start to run low. Now, I also carry a multi-cash passport card, which is a MasterCard. And I get this from Sainsbury's Bank in England. Sainsbury's Bank is part of Sainsbury's supermarket. And again, I preload this with money, and it's good to have an alternative card as well. And it's this one that I use in the ATM machines to withdraw cash. And I can withdraw anything up to my balance on that card. This card has limited foreign currency options, but Revolut has much more. A credit card. Now, credit cards are great for emergencies, for travel delays, for emergency accommodation or hiring a car. And I always start traveling with a zero balance on my credit card, and I always pay off my card regularly as well, and often pay more than I owe, simply to keep my spending up to date and also to cover any eventualities. So if I make a payment, I always pay a little extra, and then I'm in credit with my credit card just in case I need any extra money or for accommodation or whatever when I'm out. It's my emergency card, and my limit is very low anyway, so I tend to pay off my card regularly as well because I have a low limit. And keep all your cards and cash safe at all times. I know that sounds very basic, but so many people don't, and they carry everything together. Carry what you need and keep the rest at your accommodation, hidden or in your room safe. Wear a money belt. And all you guys out there, keep your wallet in your front pocket where it's a little safer rather than your back pocket. When travelling, always be flexible on just where and when you travel, and never overspend. Always know how much you're spending at all times. Set your daily budget and stick to it, or stick to your average daily spend for the trip, which is what I do. Travel light and on budget airlines, and travel with hand baggage only. Purchase day or weekly tickets for public transport and get your money's worth by making numerous journeys. Look for reduced food items from bakers, delis or supermarket counters. We do this in England. I do this every day when I go shopping. Always look for bargains, always look for offers. And if you have accommodation with a kitchen, again, take full advantage of those offers. Saving money here on a regular basis can mount up. Avoid restaurants and expensive bars, especially in tourist hotspots, and buy food from supermarkets or market stalls. Restaurants in tourist hotspots are always more expensive compared to a similar restaurant with a similar menu in other parts of the town or city. And if you go to markets, why not sample the food on offer and visit numerous stalls and enjoy a light snack? That way you get to eat for free. I've done that many times, walked around markets, a little bit of cheese here, a little bit of pizza there. It's fun sampling with different foods, and it's a great way of having a free snack as well. And if you're staying in a hotel, eat a good breakfast if it's included in your price. Buffet breakfasts are always the favourite on the continent, and they all have a good selection of cold meats and cheeses, and you can put those into a roll, make a sandwich, or take a bit of fruit as well. I do this done this many times when travelling. Have a good breakfast, and you've always got something then for lunch as well. Use discount codes and special offers where possible. Join loyalty schemes, frequent flyer programs, collect points as air miles, Avios, and always use the same booking sites, car hire companies for added benefits and discounts. And if you're staying somewhere, then use the same local cafe for breakfast or afternoon coffee and get to know the owner, as they might be able to assist you with advice or perhaps give you a discount on their food, or perhaps they have a loyalty scheme. And it's good to always have somebody friendly to talk to if you're travelling on your own, especially a cafe. And I frequently visit the same places when I travel, especially if I was made very welcome on my first visit. But that all depends on my budget and what I'm doing and the type of establishment that I might go into. But I always like to stop for a coffee somewhere, and I do frequently use the same cafes if I'm in that particular town or city. And I walk everywhere, and that's the great way to get around. Avoid expensive tours and tour groups. Sometimes they can work out very expensive. And always get a free map from the hotel or tourist office. And if you're not staying in a hotel, well, just go in and ask reception. They normally have free maps they can give out. And just explore on foot. You see so much more when you get off the main roads and away from the tourist hotspots and explore the back streets. You do see so much of a town or a city, and it's all for free. Make the most of all the free attractions as well. Every town and city has them. Free museums, galleries, free tours, and of course parks and nature walks are always free. And if you're eating your lunch out in the streets, well, listen to the buskers. Bit of free entertainment. And some of them are very talented, and they're also professional musicians that play in orchestras or in musical theatres in the evenings. They do a bit of busking during the day. Never purchase souvenirs. Do you really need them? I don't. But occasionally I do buy something. I've got a soft spot for fridge magnets, and I do collect a few from the towns and cities that I visit. Another good way of reducing costs is sharing costs with others. perhaps rooms in a hotel or a hostel, or perhaps sharing a taxi to the airport if your bus hasn't turned up or your train's running late and there's a group of you there in the same position. It's a good way of getting to the airport, getting to where you need to be, and saving money. Perhaps try and work to offset your costs as well. Some people do. There are plenty of schemes whereby people trade their time or skills in return for accommodation or food. And there are sites out there on the internet which cater for those as well. A bit of farm work or something similar to help pay your accommodation or food. And most important is always stay within the law. Pay your travel fares, your restaurant bills, and don't resort to shoplifting for food or doing a runner in a restaurant. People do, unfortunately, and it really isn't good. I say this because I know people who do it, and it's so wrong on so many levels. Just don't get caught. The penalties can be very severe and the fine's huge, and you could find yourself in prison as well, or detained overnight, perhaps deported, or you never know what punishments the law might meter out to you in a foreign country. And of course, at the end of your trip, don't blow any excess money that you've saved and undo all your hard work. Use that money for another trip or save it for that emergency situation, because you never know when you might need a little extra money if things go wrong. Upgrade your flight or your accommodation or whatever it is to cope with any eventuality that may arise. Save that for a later trip. The first rule is to look after your mobile phone. It is the most essential modern tool for travelling. What would you do if your phone was damaged and couldn't be used? Perhaps you had a broken screen. Maybe it was lost or stolen. How would you get about? How would you get home? In the wrong hands of a fraudster, they could clone your identity. It's most important to look after your phone. Modern phones do so much more than make calls. We use apps for travel, for flight tickets. We use it to pay for goods. You've got Google Pay or Apple Pay, booking accommodation, maps, and so much more. Keep your phone safe at all times and use it only in a safe place, on a train, cafe, and ensure that nobody is watching what you're doing from behind you. Don't use it while walking down the street. If you're concentrating on your phone, you're not concentrating on what's around you or who might be around you. Keep it charged at all times and carry a power pack and a charging cable. Now, I work in the travel industry and I encounter passengers every day who desperately need to charge their phone in order to show me a ticket. Don't be that person. Make sure you've got plenty of charge in your phone and a power pack. Especially if you need to show a ticket or if your flight is delayed or diverted. You might need to use it in an emergency as well to book onward travel or accommodation or something else. So most important to keep it charged. Download tickets and don't rely on the internet. No signal, no internet could mean no travel. Always download tickets. But if you've got a cracked screen, you can't show a ticket. Again, you might not be able to travel. So really look after your phone and never give it to a stranger and ask them to take a photo of you. What would you do if they ran off with it and the phone accessed because you were logged in? Mobile phones are an essential tool for travelling, so look after it and never keep it in your back pocket. So many people do, and you're just asking for a pickpocket to come along and remove it. So look after your mobile phone at all times. It's essential for modern travelling. So let's take a look at the apps that I use when I travel. And again, I'm not promoting any company or service here. I'm just mentioning these in the video because they are useful apps to have and use when traveling. Now I use a VPN, a virtual private network. It keeps me safe while I travel. And there are many companies out there that offer this service: Surfshark, ExpressVPN, NordVPN. There are numerous, and I use one of those. They are excellent. They're great for traveling. You get better local prices if you're booking travel or accommodation in the currency that or location that you are in. You have the ability to access the internet and hide your location by logging on to a VPN from anywhere to anywhere in the world. You can't be found in a digital crowd. Anyone searching for fraudulent activity to access your phone or see what you're doing, again, you're hidden in a virtual crowd. And you can access videos and video services and other things on your mobile phone that you can't do. For example, Netflix, you can watch things in one country but you can't in another. So changing your location to mask a different town or a different country, I should say, can give you access to videos as well. A good password manager is useful to have. They use unbreakable passwords with a password manager that just can't be guessed. Popular ones include Keeper, LastPass, Dashlane, Zoho. There are many others, so keep yourself safe and see which one benefits your needs. And again, I use one of those companies that I've mentioned. Nothing worse than not being able to memorize a password for a site, or because we all have numerous passwords. I think I've got about 100, and I can't remember them all, but I can remember one, and that's the main password. So it's a lot easier to keep yourself safe and log in using a password manager. Find a Toilet, yeah, that's a good app to have. There are many apps on this subject and well worth downloading one. Not all toilets are free. Some charge 50 cents or €1. But if you're desperate, then you'll spend more than a penny for that much needed relief. Always good to have a toilet and be able to locate one wherever you are. Banking apps, make sure you have access to the cards and banks that you use and check them regularly for unexpected transactions. We should do this anyway, as a matter of course, to keep ourselves safe and our accounts safe and not compromised. And remember, your bank will never call you to move money. So be on the lookout and be safe for any banking scams that may be around as well. And keeping yourself with access to your accounts, again, will help against any fraudulent activity as well. Travel apps, very useful to have. Most airlines have apps for their flights and other transport companies. Booking.com, Airbnb, Uber. There's just a few which I have which I have downloaded, along with bus and coach and train apps as well. There are numerous ones, so look and see which are the best for your needs, for where you are and where you're going to. Google Pay, Apple Pay, absolutely brilliant when you're on the go, and you can link your payment card or travel payment card to Google Pay or Apple Pay. Really useful to have. Loyalty apps as well, coffee houses, cafes. If you use a cafe regularly, then it's easy to save the stamps or the points for that free cuppa or free something or other, or get discount vouchers for reduced price cakes or whatever it is. They're always good to have loyalty apps, especially if you travel to a particular cafe chain. Always useful to have the apps. I've got several downloaded. And if you're in England, then save Nectar points. You can convert those into Avios or other travel benefits and make these loyalty apps work better for you, helps you save money. Offline maps will help you get around. Always use offline maps. Some are only online. If you can't get online, can't access the internet, there's no point having those apps on your phone. You need offline maps, and there are numerous apps for this, so see which one best matches your needs. I use maps for the underground, bus maps. All these will assist you as well as local city and town maps as well. And of course I use Flight Tracker. There are several different apps for tracking commercial aircraft, especially if your flight is delayed. You can track your inbound flight. If the airport says it's an hour's delay, well, if you know what the incoming flight is, you can track it and you can see exactly where it is and how long it will be. And I had this when I was traveling recently back from Pisa. My flight was delayed. I went onto the Flight Tracker app and it was still at Stansted. It hadn't even left, so we had quite a wait, and I got back to Stansted very late indeed. So always useful to have that. And so, as I say, look around and see which one best suits your needs. The best way to travel on a budget is to travel light. Now I use a backpack, hand luggage only, nothing to check in at the airport, no need to wait for baggage upon my arrival, no risk of my baggage being lost or stolen or remaining at the airport and hasn't travelled with me, no baggage fees for being overweight, and say nothing worse than arriving at your destination and find your luggage hasn't accompanied you. I think quite a few people can tell that story. But know the size and weight for the airline if you're having hand luggage only. All airlines are different, they all have different weights and sizes, so make sure your backpack or hand luggage fits in with the airline's regulations. And keep the backpack with you on the coach and in the car. Don't put it in the boot of a car just in case the driver makes off with it or it's taken out at the set of traffic lights in a random robbery. Just be safe and keep your things with you at all times. I always carry plastic cutlery. Now, most fast food restaurants have them, and they're great to carry. You never know when you could do with a plastic spoon or a plastic fork. Just in case the market store that you're buying from hasn't got any, then you've always got some with you. It's so useful. Food bags. Now, when you travel through an airport, you have to put your liquids into a clear bag. And these are very, very useful to have. And I always carry a few with me because they double up as food bags. And they also double up as sick bags as well. And you can reuse them, but not if you've been sick into one. I reused the food bag ones. Very useful to carry, especially if you've got that buffet breakfast. You can put your roll, cheese roll, ham roll, and your fruit, and keep it fresh for later. And I always carry a pack of tissues as well. You never know when you might need a tissue. Poop bags, nappy sacks. We'll have friends who are dog walkers, and I carry doggy poop bags as well. And they're great for disposing of food waste. Nothing worse than having some food waste and not being able to dispose of it. So I put it in a food bag, into a poop bag, and I can dispose of it in a public bin or other. You can also put sanitary ware in there. And some people, if they're caught short, can poop in the park or into the woods or go behind a tree, and you can actually pick up the evidence and dispose of it. So it's very useful to carry poop bags as well. They do come in very useful, and I know people have used them for all sorts of for uses. Just mentioned a few, but there are other ones I'm sure as well. Medicines. Yeah, we all get headaches from the time being. I always carry headache tablets, ibuprofen, hay fever tablets, and tablets for diarrhea as well. Carry my Imodium. You never know when you might need something to cure diarrhea. You all eat foreign foods, and sometimes we can have a bad experience and get a touch of the deli belly, as they call it sometimes. And nothing worse than having very bad diarrhea when you're travelling. I know, I've been there, and I'm sure you have as well. And I also carry laxative powders just in case the reverse happens. Nothing worse than having difficulty in that department. Sticking plasters I carry as well, and any other medication I think that might be useful as well. So look at your needs and carry what you might need. And of course, face coverings as well. Now the pandemic has passed in virtually all countries now, but COVID is still with us and will be for many years to come, and I dare say it will raise its head in hotspots around the country and around the world, I should say. I carry a little buffet of face coverings, different types, but in continental Europe they prefer the KN95 or the FFP2 face covering, medical face covering. So always make sure you've got at least one of those with you, just in case. You never know when you might need a face covering, and you've got one. Sudden spout of COVID, regulations change, and you're boarding an aircraft, and they say that everybody's got to have a face mask, and there's none to be had. So make sure you've got one just in case. You never know. Other items I carry with me, well, power bank, charging cable, portable sewing kit, travel sewing kit, an umbrella. You never know when you're going to get caught in the rain, and I've been caught in the rain myself many times, and I always carry an umbrella. And I carry a rain cover for my backpack as well. Nothing worse than getting your backpack wet when it rains, but it also hides the zips and other compartments as well, and may deter pickpockets. Less tempting target for pickpockets if you've got a cover covering up all your zips and pockets. Other items you might need, perhaps there's a bottle opener. Some people carry them. Again, carry items which you think you might need, and think of where you're going and plan ahead. Travelling around the world, different places, can be so rewarding. Seeing different places, meeting new people, forging new friendships, eating amazing food, fabulous scenery, great experiences, and probably better weather as well abroad than you would get at home, especially if you travel in the winter and you're going to sunnier, warmer climates. Enjoy your travels and have a plan in case it goes wrong. After all, there's always the unexpected when travelling. Trains can be delayed, flights delayed, cancelled, hotel booking mix up, and always keep some money aside just in case, and stick to your budget wherever possible. And remember, travelling can be as expensive as you want to make it, or as cheap as you can make it. There is so much I could say about all of the subjects covered in these videos, and each subject could be a video in its own right, from train travel to air travel to money and to different types of accommodation. So always look at what's best for you, for your travel needs, wherever you're going. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. And if you want to know about my travel costs in 2022 or how I afford to travel, then the links to those two videos are in the description at the end of this video. So thank you so much for watching this series, and enjoy your travels. Travel safe and travel on a budget. Thanks for watching.